Hello everyone. So today we're going to discuss another lesson, and this time we are going to talk about figurative languages. Now let's talk about the difference between literal and figurative language. So when we say literal language, you say exactly what you mean. So you make no comparison and you do not exaggerate or understate the situation. Um it stays as it is. On the other hand, figurative language is the opposite. You don't say exactly what you mean. So in this case, you do compare, exaggerate, and understate the situation. You use similes, metaphors, hyperboles, and other figures of speech to make your writing more exciting. Now let's have a short activity. Let's identify whether this is literal or figurative. So let's start from number one. Grant always turns in his homework. Is this literal or figurative? Right, that's correct. So this is literal. So he will turn in his homework literally. Next one. The water was rising in the river because of the rain. Is this literal or figurative? Okay, this is literal. That's right. Number three, her teeth are like stars because they come out at night. Uh-huh. Is this literal or figurative? Exactly. This is figurative. Next, when she sings, her voice is like velvet. Literal or figurative? Okay, this is figurative. Half of the class did not complete the assignment. Is this literal or figurative? Okay, this is literal. That's right. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Literal or figurative? Of course, you could not eat a whole horse, so this is figurative. That's right. Mike was so angry that steam was coming out of his ears. Figurative or literal? Yes, this is figurative. The zebras cried when the wise old elephant died. All right, so this is literal. So the zebras are crying. So they actually cry. I've told you a million times to clean up your room. Okay, this is figurative. Well, it's a little exaggeration to say a million times, right? And yeah, that's it. So let's read this picture, and I thought that was just a figure of speech. So to describe the different artistic way on how we say things, so that is all about a figure of speech. So we don't exactly mean what we are saying. Okay, so there are seven types of figurative language. So, namely, simile, hyperbole, alliteration, metaphor, personification, onomatopoeia, and oxymoron. So, in short, just remember the acronym shampoo. Okay, so that is our mnemonics for these types of figurative language. Right. So what is simile? So maybe you've heard simile a lot of times. So let's review it. So when we say simile, it is comparing two unlike things using the words like or as. So let's have an example. Her eyes were like stars. Oh, so she must have beautiful eyes or shining eyes. Okay, because we compare the eyes to or we compared her eyes to a star. Susan is as gentle as kitten. So what are the two things being compared in this sentence? Okay, exactly. That is Susan. Uh-huh. Ah, yeah. Susan and the kitten. And what word was used to compare these two? Okay, we use the word as gentle as a kitten. Right, so this is simile. Next one, we have hyperbole. So hyperbole is an exaggeration so dramatic no one could believe it. Or, in other words, an overstate to emphasize a point. So let's have an example. This bag weighs a ton. All right. So it's not necessarily that this bag really weighs a ton, but it simply means that, okay, that this bag is so heavy. All right. That is hyperbole. So weighs a ton is an exaggeration to say that the bag is heavy. Another one, I've told you a million times to clean up your room. All right. So it's not literally that he told or she told him a million times or she told that person a million times. So she cannot count it. But it means he or she has told that person a lot of times. Okay, so that is hyperbole. Next, we have alliteration. So this is the repeating of the same letter or sound, especially consonant sounds. So good examples are the tongue twisters. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Miss Warren was worried when Wendy was waiting. So what is the repeating consonant sound in here? Okay, so we have the wa sound, the W. Okay, the consonant W was repeated. Right, another example. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Okay, so what consonant sound is being repeated? Yeah, the B or the letter B. Okay, and the next one, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Yeah, very familiar, right? Okay, so we have the P sound being repeated. Okay, so this is an example of alliteration. So we use this to make something or to make our statement sound creative and the rhythm is good to the ears. Okay, alliteration in poetry, for example. A flea and a fly in a flue were imprisoned, so what could they do? Said the fly, let us flee. Let us fly, said the flea. So they flew through a flow in the flue. Right. So this is an example. So when you read the poem, so it sounds so artistic and the rhythm is so good to listen to. Don't you agree? Right. Okay. Now let's proceed to the next one. So we have metaphor. Metaphor is like simile. We compare to unlike things, but in this case, we're not going to use like or as. So calling one thing another and saying one thing is something else. So we directly compared something to another thing without using like or as. For example, he is a lion when he fights. Okay. So in this case, we didn't say he's like a lion, but we directly say that he is a lion. So that is metaphor. So he is being compared to a lion. Next, her eyes were sparkling emeralds. What are the two unlike things being compared here? Yup, her eyes and the emeralds. My love is a red, red rose. Yeah, that's familiar, right? So this is a poem by Robert Burns. Okay, my love is a red, red rose. So his love is being compared directly to a red rose. Okay, so that is metaphor. Okay, next we have personification. So it is giving human characteristics to things that are not human. Okay, for example, the angry flood waters slapped the house. Okay, so which or what human characteristics can you see in this sentence? All right, we have the angry and the slapped. Okay, so who is being talked to or what is being talked to in this sentence? Yeah, the flood waters. So the flood waters cannot be angry and cannot slap someone, right? But in this sentence, the flood waters was given the human characteristics of being angry and at the same time for being able to slap the house. So if you're going to imagine what happened here, so the flood wiped the house away or covered the house with water. Okay, the next one, the sun smiled down on us. Okay, so we have here the sun, which is not a human, of course, and he is given a human characters, or it was given as a human characteristic such as smiling. Okay, so this is personification. Okay, and now we have onomatopoeia. So, onomatopoeia is the use of a word to describe or imitate a natural sound. So, just remember it imitates a sound made by an object or action and the words that sound like what they mean. So, for example, we have the word buzz for bee, pow, tweet, tweet, what else? Zoom, hiss. Okay. So those sounds are part of onomatopoeia. Now let's proceed to oxymoron. So these are words or phrases in which contradictory or opposite terms that are used together. Okay, so for example, you say jumbo shrimp. Okay, so jumbo is big, shrimp is small, but they these are opposite terms that are used together. So jumbo shrimp. Next, act naturally. Okay, so if you're going to analyze, the words are really opposite to each other. Like acting is of course not natural and naturally is not an acting, but we can understand what this means, right? To act naturally. Adult child, yes, climb down. Okay, so you will climb and then down. So these are contradictory terms. Baby grand. Uh-huh. So baby and grand. So these are opposite terms as well. Okay, so those are the different figurative languages. But of course, there are still other figurative languages out there. So these are just some of the basic and the common figurative languages. Now let's go to quiz time. Okay, so here is our statement number one. The street cars are like frosted cakes covered with snowflakes. Three, two, one, go. The answer is that's right, simile. Okay, so because we have here the word like, that's right. So what are the two things being compared to? Okay, the streetcars and frosted cakes. Okay, good job. Next. The west wind dances down the road. So what figures of or figurative language is this? In three, two, one, go. So the answer is personification. Exactly. All right. So what human characteristics can we see in this sentence? Right, dances. Okay, next. A train is a dragon that roars through the dark. Okay, so what figurative language is this? Three, two, one, go. This is metaphor, exactly. So what are the two things being compared in the sentence? That's correct. So we have train and dragon. So this time we didn't use like or as. So instead we use is. We directly compared train to a dragon. Okay, and next. The band played to a small crowd at the concert. Okay, three, two, one, go. The answer is oxymoron. So what is the oxymoron here? Which word? Okay, we have small crowd. Very good. Next sentence. She's as tiny as a mouse. She's as tiny as a mouse. What figurative language is this? Three, two, one. That is simile. That's correct. So what are the words being compared in this sentence? Right, she and mouse. Okay, so what word did we use to compare these two? Okay, we have the word as. Okay, very good. Right, last one. Susan suddenly stretched slowly. Susan suddenly stretched slowly. So what figurative language is used in this sentence? In three, two, one. That is alliteration. So what consonant sound is being repeated? Okay, we have the consonant S. Okay, good job. So that is our activity. All right, so I think that would be all, guys, for this lesson. So I hope that you've learned something. So don't forget to um, ask if you have clarifications. Okay, so please go to our Google Classroom for your activity.